Hello, hello, hello. It's Mike from the Indie Band Alliance. Thanks for tuning in. And today it's sort of a last minute decision to come online and do this, but I've got a little something I've been working on and I'd like to share it with you and see what you have to say about it. It's a little something called the Music Income Challenge, and right now you're looking at a mind map. So I've got a little presentation here that I'm going to walk you through, and it's going to be worth your while if you're looking to make some money online selling your own music. And whether you've already been doing it, maybe you want a different way of doing it, or you just want to have somebody help you out with it. I'm going to talk to you about that, tell you a little bit why I'm doing this and my background, but that's the payoff for you guys. If you sit through this, you're going to get to find out how I can help you out with making your first dollar online, selling your own stuff. So, having said that, let's get into this. And right now, you're looking at a mind map, and you see the letters IBA. That's short for my website, which is Indie Band Alliance. We're not really going to be talking about the Indie Band Alliance today. We're going to be talking about what I'm calling the Music Income Challenge. So let's get into it. All right. So first of all, why me? Why am I? Why you're listening to me right now? Why does it matter what I say? I'm a musician, specifically bass player. Composed my own music, wrote my own lyrics, all that fun stuff, and played in a band for numerous years, put out some CDs. But having said that, you probably haven't heard of me, not like I'm anyone famous. And but these days, I'm a certified inbound marketing specialist. So I've been online for long time, very long time, and professionally making my living doing online content, marketing, SEO, all that stuff for the last 6 years. I currently work with a marketing agency, and when I'm doing that work, my time is getting billed out at anywhere from $75 to $125 per hour. So I'm not saying this to brag. I'm just giving you some background on why you might want to listen to what I have to say. Totally up to you, of course. All right, but enough about me. What we're here to talk about is making money with your own music, eventually going full-time as a musician or with making music, and starting small and growing, because anyone that's going to tell you that you can just jump right into the big time is probably selling you something. And I got news for you. I'm not even selling you anything here. So hopefully you can listen to what I say and be happy about it. Not trying to get a buck here, so but I'm hoping you can make a buck. So I'm going to talk about what I believe, and the reason why I'm going to talk about this is because if you know what I believe and you agree with me, then chances are you're going to find some interest and you're going to resonate with what I have to say. If you don't believe in any of these things, then chances are we're not a good fit, and you're probably not going to want to hear anything more that I got to say. So the first thing is that I believe it is possible to earn 6 figures a year as a musician. And if you go back a few years, I believe it was Kevin Kelly who came up with the 1,000 True Fan theory, which basically means that if you have 1,000 people, fans, that are willing to pay you one day's pay, which the equivalent of about $100 per year, that means you have 1,000 times 100, and the math works out to $100,000 per year. And so it is possible under that scenario. Now there's a lot of different wrinkles. It's not a perfect science, but that's sort of the theory behind it. And you can just type in 1,000 fan theory. I also have the 1,000 fan or the 1K fan formula that I give away for free on my website at indiebandalliance.com. You can go and check that out. So anyway, I believe it is possible to earn six figures as a musician, but it's going to take some work. You're not going to just wake up one day and win the rock star lottery and have tons of money. You're going to have to work at it, and especially if you're in a band. You know, think about it. If there's four of you in a band, and you've only got 1,000 true fans, and that means the four of you would be splitting 100,000, which means you're only getting 25,000 each. Which, you know, hey, if you would have offered me 25,000 when I was younger to do music full time, I would have taken it in a heartbeat. So, but I mean, 100,000 is even better. You have more. You don't have to compromise as much. It's easier to put out albums. It's easier to tour and all that fun stuff, right? So that's what I believe. The next thing is MVP, which stands for Minimum Viable Product. And this is a concept, I believe, that was introduced in a business book. So you may not have heard about it, depending on whether you follow the business side of things or not. But I believe it was in a book called The Lean Startup, which I haven't actually read, but I have adopted this philosophy. And what the minimum viable product is it means that good enough is good enough. It's actually, if you think about it, it's kind of this presentation I'm doing right now. I didn't spend 3 to 6 hours putting it together. I just kind of got the ideas in my head of what I wanted to talk to you about, and I put together this mind map to kind of give me a focus to follow through, so that I don't talk around in circles, and just put it out there. And minimum viable product is it's a way to test things out quickly and inexpensively, and get the feedback and make adjustments, because nobody gets it right the first time, unless you're some kind of supreme deity. We're going to make mistakes, and we're going to learn from those mistakes and improve. At least that's the hope. So, minimum viable product. The other thing too is that I believe in is non-competition. So I believe that bands, sometimes there's band wars and Battle of the Bands and American Idol and all these things, and you kind of see them. They're kind of geared to pit musicians against each other. And it's easy when you're starting out. I know definitely when I was younger, when I was starting out, to think that you got to, quote unquote, beat the other band. You have to be better than the other band. But at the end of the day, I think bands working together is actually one of the smartest things to do. If you get a couple of smart bands and they have the business side of things down, and they know how to promote, market, and get an audience going, then the best thing that could possibly happen to you is to do a show with them and maybe learn some of what they're doing, or get exposed to their fans, or they teach you how to do this stuff. Now they've got a cool band to work with that also can help give them more fans. So I also say this in the marketing context, in that I'm here to help you succeed. So if I know of something, even if I didn't come up with it, there's a lot of other music marketers out there. There's Bob Baker, there's John Ojiaka, there's guys like that out there, and I'm not going to pretend they don't exist, and I'm not going to pretend you don't know who they are. But at the same time, there's a lot of other people, a lot of other things that I know, and what I'm basically trying to say is, if I know of something that's going to help you out, I'm going to let you know about it. I'm not going to withhold it. I'm not going to I'm not going to pawn it off as something I invented. It's there's no need for that, right? And pretty much just about anything I talk to you about, I have not invented. These are fundamentals that I've learned through working professionally and working as a musician, as well as working as an inbound marketing specialist. Okay, so I truly believe, kind of going back to the MVP, You got to master the fundamentals before you can get going, and that's why at the end of the day, my challenge to you isn't to start right off the bat making a full-time income, because that's a pretty big hill to climb for most of us. And some people get really motivated by having a huge challenge in front of them, and other people just kind of look at it and maybe they make an attempt and then they go, forget it, it's too much for me. So I want to start small and grow, okay? So my challenge to you, I will actually reveal the challenge a little bit later on. So that's the introduction. That's what I believe. 6K, 6,000, 6 figures per year. Minimum viable product, so test and get feedback and go out there, and non-competition between bands and between the online marketers and the stuff I'm going to share with you. It's just the best stuff I think that's going to help you move forward. So 3 out of the 4 steps. What does this mean? Well, I've got a framework that I've put together, and it consists of 4 major steps. And out of those 4 steps, I'm only going to share 3 of them with you today, not because I'm trying to be sneaky, but because the whole point behind the Music Income Challenge is for you to earn your first dollar. Okay? So these are the minimum necessary steps required for you to earn $1 online. Okay? So that's why I'm only giving you 3 out of 4. The 4th step is something I like to call the amplify step. And an amplifier, being a musician, I'm sure you know this. If you have a broken guitar and, say the input jack is busted, so you're not getting any volume out of it, and then it's not going to matter if you plug it into an amplifier. You're not going to get any louder. You're not going to get any sound. So that's kind of the theory behind this as well. If you can't earn $1, then it's going to be pretty hard to earn $10, to earn $50, to earn $500, $1,000, $10,000, right? We got to earn that first dollar. And once you earn that dollar, then we can do things to start, improving it and growing it, right? So that's why these are the only 3 steps I'm going to focus on, because they're the minimum steps required to get you to the point where you can earn $1. Okay? Make sense? Good. So stage 1 is produce. Now, produce means you're going to produce an offer, which is obviously going to be your music. And under produce, you're also going to package, so you're going to make it look nice. Now, I'm here to help you earn your first $1. I'm not here to teach you how to write songs. I'm not here to teach you how to play your instrument better or how to sing better. When you're coming here, when you're coming to me, I have to assume you already know this stuff. I have to assume you've already recorded something, you've got some MP3s, you've got something, and it has to be your own. Because actually this is another thing that I believe. I do strongly believe in ownership, and especially if you want to make a living as a musician, you're really stacking the deck against yourself if you're not creating your own music. If you look into royalties at all, you're going to see, obviously, even if you play other people's songs, sometimes that works okay on the gig level. You can get paid more doing cover shows, especially when you're undiscovered as an independent. But at the end of the day, if you want to make the 6 figures per year, you need to have your own music. Okay, so what do I mean by an offer? Well, actually, let's start with package. Okay, so you need to put together something that's enticing, that's compelling to your audience. So I'm going to hope that you know who your audience is. I've actually got a neat little trick that I use Amazon for. to help you find an audience, but I don't have time to get into that right now. So if you have an idea who your audience is, you want to put together a package that's going to appeal to them. So depending on who your audience is, you might be able to offer a single download, or it might have to be an EP, like 3 to 4 songs or 6 songs. You might even have to offer an entire album to get somebody to sign up. So the package part of Produce means you're going to have a web page where people can sign up. So this is, the squeeze page. I'm sure you've heard of this before. Lots of people teach it. You're going to have a squeeze page. You're going to have a headline saying who your music is for, what they're going to get. You got to make it sound really appealing and enticing, so you have to use the language that your audience is interested in. One of the things I hear John Oszaka say a lot is that most people don't wake up in the morning and want a download. Nobody's looking for a download. They're looking for music, and they're looking for specific music. They're looking for cool jazz, or bluegrass, or folk, or death metal. They're looking for specific music, and guitar players are looking for awesome guitar solos and or instrumental guitar pieces and different things like that. So if that's what you got, then that's what you want to speak with the language that your audience wants, and you want to put something together that they're interested in. It doesn't matter really what you want at the end of the day if nobody else wants it, right? You need to put the package together, and don't just, you got to kind of make it look nice, so graphics, if you can have a 3D image of your CD, little touches like that are going to make it look way more compelling and appealing to people. So I've got some resources I can share with that, and I will be sharing those resources in the Music Income Challenge. I didn't have time to look up all the links, but the point of packaging is you want to put something together that looks appealing to your targeted audience. So you need to have an idea of who they are and what they're interested in, and then you put that together, and that also ties into your offer. So your offer initially is, I'm going to give away some free music in exchange for your email address. Okay? Again, this is not a new concept. I have not invented it, but it is a tried and true marketing fundamental. Okay? So to ignore it and not use it is to basically tie one arm behind your back. So I know some people feel really strongly about not giving music away for free. I agree. You shouldn't just arbitrarily give your music away for free without a strategy behind it, and this is part of a strategy. Okay, so I'm going to talk a little bit about the pitfalls of the produce stage. Okay, and this is something that I'm familiar with too. Perfectionism. Okay, the produce stage is where a lot of musicians get stuck because nothing is ever perfect, and so if you're recording a CD, it's like, oh, you want to do, you're just not sure if it's good enough to put out to the public, and unfortunately the produce stage, if you think about it, you got to have your music, okay, so you got to have music recorded, and it's got to be converted to MP3 or WAV files or whatever kind of format you're using. Then you got to package it, and then you're going to have a squeeze page that looks good, So the produce stage is out of the 3 stages, it's probably the most time intensive, especially in the beginning. And it's easy to kind of say to yourself, like, oh, I'm going to do this right. I'm going to put a lot of time into it. But again, I just want to mention the MVP. You want the minimum viable product. You want it to look good, but it's better to be 75% quality and 100% done than to be 110% quality and 10% done. In other words, you never put it out to the public. They never see it. They never hear it. Doesn't matter how good it is if nobody hears it or sees it, right? So you have to get out of the produce stage, because if you don't, nobody's going to find out about it. And that's basically what the next stage is, which is promote. Okay, promote, which is marketing. So you want to tell people in a cool way about what you're doing, and you want to actually have a conversation. You want to engage, you want to talk with them, okay? And so again, this is the type of stuff people do on forums, on social media, and again, there's people do this really badly. Musicians seem to be among some of the worst offenders out there, where it's like, listen to my stuff, go to my website, buy my music, vote for me on Van Warped Tour, or it's all me, 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 me. You have to go the other way. So one of the methods that I talk about is to find the bands that inspired your band, that you're kind of similar to, that you could share fans with. So say it's Black Sabbath, say your band has sort of a Black Sabbath feel, then you'd want to go hang out on Black Sabbath websites and forums and just hang out and answer and ask questions, and in the sort of, while you're doing that, kind of drop that you're in a band, but don't say go buy my stuff or go here or go do that. Like, you can basically, a good sort of way to ease people into you is do a couple of Black Sabbath covers and put it up on YouTube, and then from that they can come to your website and hear your original music. Okay, so sorry, I'm not a lawyer. Some people, I know there's been issues with people doing cover songs on YouTube or whatever. So I mean, that's not legal advice. That's just one idea. But that's one way, because when people find out about you indirectly, they're much more willing to come to you with an open mind and want to check you out. But if you're like in their face saying, listen to this, do that, download this, then people just close the doors right away and they're not interested. So and engage, talk about them. Don't talk about yourself. Nobody wants to hear about you. Just like you right now, you don't want to hear about me, and I don't blame you. Nobody wants to hear somebody else talk about themselves. It's all about you, the listener. It's all about the audience. So you want to connect with your audience. So again, it comes down to knowing who wants what you have, who likes your music, and the better that you can describe the person, because chances are there's going to be more than one type of person that likes what you do. But ideally, you'll have to target one of them for starters, because you can't talk to everybody at once. There's going to be other musicians that are interested in what you do. There's going to be, maybe there's a certain gender or a certain age group or a certain, even an industry that, maybe you write songs about World of Warcraft or something, and there's like IT people that, I don't want to stereotype, but just say maybe there's some IT professionals out there that maybe they spend half their life on World of Warcraft, and then they think it's cool there's a band that writes about World of Warcraft or whatever, right? Like, it's just about finding the right audience. Okay, but so the promote means that you're talking to people, you're linking back to your website. Ideally, you're linking to your squeeze page, okay? And this is something that John Oszaka talks a lot about, is sort of the concept of having a website and having a squeeze page. And you want to send what's called cold traffic, or people who have never heard of you before. You want to send them to the squeeze page and capture their email information and all that stuff up front, and then nurture a relationship with them over email and through your website. You can then, once you've got their email address, you can send them to your website. They can go and experience everything that you got there. If you've been blogging there, if you've got like lots of live footage and stuff on your website, that's awesome. But send them to your squeeze page first, especially if you're paying money. Because if you're paying money, you want to have something to show for it, and an email address can be worth its weight in gold. So, I mean, although an email address technically weighs nothing, so you could say it's worth nothing, but no, it's actually in the internet, an email address is still the absolute best thing to have. Right next to having an actual credit card number for somebody that likes your music. So, yeah, you want to basically have a link from, if you're going to hang out on forums, have a signature link that points to a squeeze page. I'm sure you've heard this before. It's nothing new, right? It's once again, it's a fundamental approach that does work. So I'm not going to teach you something new and crazy, because if you're not doing it, if you haven't mastered the fundamentals, then you don't need something more advanced, because chances are it's just going to be too complex, and you're not going to get around to it. So you're going to promote your squeeze page, get the email address. You're going to do it in a cool way. You're going to talk about the bands that inspire you. You can also hang out on a musician forum and just talk about your instrument. Talk about what inspires you. Maybe there's a particular type of guitar that you love or whatever, and just be a real person. And people think you're cool, people like what you're talking about, they're going to click on your signature link and try to find out more. Or they're going to go click on your profile and then see your link to your website and check you out that way. So that's the way to do it. Nothing crazy. I mean, you can make this very complicated. And the problem that musicians fall into in the promote stage is they don't plan for it, and they basically how's the best way to put it? They don't put any effort into it. Don't put in the effort. Okay? And what I mean by that is, if I got $1 for every single time that a band went all out in the studio, invested $10,000 in a recording and maybe another couple of thousand getting CDs pressed and maybe getting some T-shirts done up and all this stuff, and taking it as far as maybe a CD release party, maybe even multiple CD release parties, and then inside of 4 weeks or 6 weeks of this new disc, and they just stop. They just, if it didn't explode, if it isn't all over the radio, or people aren't throwing riots for them to play, they just kind of let it peter out. And so many bands don't even take it that far. They run out of money they press the CD and then they got no money left. So they can't promote they can't even do up like posters for the shows, or they can't do any sort of advertising or anything at all. And back in the old days, you'd even hear about bands that they'd run out of money in the studio and they wouldn't even have the money to put out the CD. So, and that was like death back in the 90s, because it cost a lot of money for CDs, and MP3s were kind of just coming out. So, but anyway, so yeah, these are problems with the promote stage. And the other thing you have to remember is, even when the music is old to you, other people haven't heard it before, so it's brand new to somebody else. If you're in front of a new audience, or if you're in a new town or something, you have to, forget about being sick of it yourself. These people are hearing it for the first time. So if you want to make a go of it, these two stages, the produce and the promote, you got to be doing this every day. You need to be producing music. You can't just put out 10 songs every 5 years. You need to be making music on a weekly basis if you want to do this full time. And promoting, you can't just promote when the CD is done and recorded. You need to be promoting constantly. You need to be promoting before the gig, during the gig, after the gig. You need to be promoting before the studio, during the studio, you know, mixing the song in the studio, mastering, whatever. You got to be promoting the whole time. It should never end, because those are going to be two big things that make you succeed. One of the other things, again, that I believe that I didn't state earlier, is also if you look it up, you probably have heard of this. It's called the long tail. And the long tail, if you picture it's like a hockey stick, right? So you got a small part of it that's going right up into outer space, and then it sticks out to the right, looks like an L or a hockey stick. And what that is, in terms of music, you're only going to have, even if you look at the top bands, the million selling bands out there, they have a handful of hits at best that sell a whole bunch. But then they have a whole bunch of, dozens and dozens and dozens of other songs that sell way less. But when you add them all up together, it's that catalog of songs besides just the hits that really prop up the income for the band. Like if you look at, I think they used to say, like movies, if you look at a movie studio, or if you look at a record label, okay, if you look at a record label and say this record label, major record label, has, say, 100 artists that they represent, a pinhead, you can put like on a pinhead the ones that are selling like crazy insane amounts, and the vast majority of them are not selling anywhere near as much. But when you add them all up together, you've got enough to make a viable business. So I believe in the same thing on a micro level with an artist, which is the more songs you put out, the better chance you have of creating a hit, or maybe a hit for you. Might not be a diamond album or diamond single or something, but it could be a hit in as far as you're concerned, if a lot of people like it and it helps sell CDs for you. And the more you do it, the better you're going to get. So write as often as you can and promote as much as you can, because people, like I said, it's always going to be something new. There's billions of people online that have not heard of you. So you got to get in front of them if you want to make a living doing this. So do plan to promote. Try to promote as much as you produce. So because if people don't know you exist, it doesn't matter how great you are. And do put in the effort. If you're going to do a budget for a CD, make sure you leave like at least a quarter of your budget, if not half of your budget, for the promotion side of it. Because if people don't hear about it, then you're not going to sell a heck of a lot, right? Right. Okay, so the last stage is called collect. And I'm a little bit sneaky about this, because I called it collect instead of sales, because I know people get squeamish about selling. But there's also another reason about this. Collect, you're not just collecting money, you're collecting email addresses. So if you're doing the squeeze page strategy that I talked about earlier, then ideally you're going to end up having an email address by the time all is said and done. And you're also going to be collecting data. So how many people visited your website? If you had 100 people come to your squeeze page, how many of them decided to sign up and give you their email address, right? Then how many of them, in turn, after they went through your email nurturing sequence, decided to actually buy your CD or buy your membership access or buy your DVD or whatever you're selling, buy your t-shirt, right? So you're going to be collecting data, but you're not really getting any meaningful data until you're getting email addresses and actually getting money, because those are the two things that you want to track, and those are going to be what you use to get smart about how you spend your time. Because I don't have to tell you there's a billion things that you could do every day. You already know that you got to be writing music and promoting your music. But I mean, you could spend 24 hours a day promoting your music in all the wrong places and nobody comes, right? If you're collecting the data and you're tracking who's spending the money with you and who's giving you email addresses, if you're tracking the data right, you can find out where they're coming from. Are they coming from Facebook? Are they coming from Twitter? Are they coming from that guitar forum that you're hanging out on? You can figure all that out, and you can find out, hey, guess what? I've been spending 6 hours a week on Facebook, and according to the information I have, nobody from Facebook is giving me their email address or giving me money. However, from that guitar forum that I hang out on, I only spend an hour a week, and I'm getting like 6 email addresses. Well, it doesn't take a genius to say, hey, stop doing the Facebook in that example and do more of the forum and see if you can get some more. See if you can grow that 6 email addresses up to 16 or 60 instead, right? So that's sort of the logic behind it. Okay, and money, the main thing is, as I told you earlier, it's to earn your first buck, because once you earn $1, you can reapply everything that you learned, and you can kind of go through those steps again and again and see if you can improve them just a little bit each time and turn that dollar into 10, into 100, into 1,000. Okay? So those are the 3 stages required to get from nothing to something to that first dollar. So you want to produce, you're going to have an offer, you're going to have your music packaged up, you're going to promote it, you're going to have it, packaged up and on a landing page or a squeeze page so you can collect email addresses. You're going to promote that link to people on forums, social media, all that stuff. Then you're going to collect their email addresses and nurture them with an email sequence and mention the thing that you have for sale, whether it's your DVD or your CD, and get some sales going that way. Okay, so the shortest path, this is not going to look probably as short as you would like it to look. You need a domain, ideally. I know people like to just use this Facebook page. I don't really have time to go into this, but ideally you'd have a squeeze page on its own domain, because that's going to be the most watertight in terms of people leaving. If you have a squeeze page on your band website, there's a chance that they can just go right to the root of the domain and avoid your squeeze page and get lost and looking at something else. So ideally a squeeze page on its own domain. You'd have your freebie that you're going to offer in exchange for their email address. You're going to need, ideally, autoresponder/email system to both collect the email address and to deliver the freebie, or at least the link to the freebie. And sorry, this just got one longer because you're going to need a thank you page. Ideally, in the perfect world, you're going to have a thank you page right here. Okay, and the thank you page is where you're going to track the conversion. You can also use it to deliver the freebie, as well as make an upsell to your actual album that you're selling. Okay, and then you would also have a sales page that you can send people to. If they're going through an email sequence in this stage, you could send them, 7 to 10 emails and just have like a link at the bottom that's pointing to your sales page. You don't have to club people over the head. Again, you don't want to say buy my stuff all the time, or else no one's going to want to pay attention. But you do want to have a sales page selling your stuff. So you need to have a shopping cart, which is where you're going to take all that cool stuff you packaged up and hook it up to a shopping cart where you can get paid. some real money. Okay, so you can sell your full CD. You can sell MP3s. You can sell membership. If you have like a membership going, that's going to require a band that's producing a lot of content and doing a lot of marketing, a lot of promotions. But it's not impossible, especially if you want to get to the 100K level. Okay, so those are basically what you need. So sorry, it's not 6 steps, it's actually 7 steps if I add the thank you page in there. 7 steps is the shortest possible path. You could skip some of this stuff, but I do not recommend it because it's going to hurt you. If you cut out the autoresponder, it's going to hurt you. You need the squeeze page. If you cut out the domain, it's going to hurt you, your conversions. So this is the 7 steps of the shortest path. And again, nothing probably earth-shattering here. You've probably heard of some of this stuff if you've followed any of the major music marketers online. But if you don't have this set up, this is basically what's called a funnel, a marketing funnel. And if you don't have this set up, and if you're also not tracking it, the data side of it, then chances are you're wasting time or money, especially if you're buying ads for this. Okay? So that's my presentation. So my outro is, again, my challenge to you is to see if you can earn $1 with me. And $1 is doable for anyone that's got their own music. Now, ideally, I mean, you could, get your best friend to go on and buy your song for $1, but I mean, if you do that, you're really kind of cheating yourself. You're not really, if it comes from a stranger, then that's going to be much more impactful, right? So, if this sounded interesting to you, if you would like to know more about any of these steps here, because I've only just touched on them very lightly. I could probably do an entire, actually, I didn't even have it listed on here, but I mentioned audience. I mean, it's easy to probably spend an hour just talking about, how to target your audience. And that's one of the biggest obstacles I think a lot of bands, and not even bands, businesses that I deal with, figuring out who their audience is, because everyone likes to think, oh, my audience is everyone. Or what they used to do on those Christmas commercials, they used to say, for the music lover on your list. Well, I don't know of many music lovers. People that are going to buy anything from like classical to country to rap to jazz to, I don't know, Jamaican reggae or whatever. I mean, there aren't a lot of quote-unquote music lovers, but there are people who will kill you if you touch the radio, their country radio station on setting in their car, because they're like country music fanatics. Or there's people that blues guitar or something like that. There's people that they care about the music that they care about, and everything else is noise. They don't just like all music, right? So coming up with the right audience is going to be a huge part of whether you succeed or fail as a musician. And don't get me going on failure, because failure, again, I guess another one of my beliefs is that you learn from failing, and you don't want to avoid failing, because chances are that means you're playing not to win, you're just playing not to lose. And there's a big difference if you think about it. So anyway, I've gone on long enough. By now you should know, if you're interested in learning more about any of these steps, okay, if you want to hear more about the strategy behind earning the first $1 and kind of where you go from there, then I urge you to go and join the Music Income Challenge. And I don't even have an official web page up for it right now, but if you go to the IndieBandAlliance.com And my latest post on there is called Start Selling Music Online. And at the very end, if you go right to the bottom of that article, there's a link. And if you click that, then you are going to be able to put in your email address and sign up for the Music Income Challenge. And once you're in there, this is 100% free because I want to prove to you that I can help you, and I want to prove that I can help you make a buck, and that we can go from there. Okay, so the other reason why this is called the Music Income Challenge is because I want to prove it's a challenge for myself too. I want to see how many people I can help, and I figure, you know what, if I can't help one person make $1 by selling their own music, by helping them get through all these stages that you're looking at right now, then obviously I'm not good enough at what I do to deserve your attention. So my challenge to myself is, if I can't help at least one other person make $1 online selling their music, following my program, following these steps, if they don't, if they can't put in a decent effort and just follow the stuff, and if having done everything and done their best and they still can't make $1, then I figure I've failed you guys, and I might as well just shut my site down and not contribute to the noise that's online. Because I mean, there's enough challenge out there already without a bunch of people out there, who claim to help musicians giving bad advice, right? So the challenge is on you, and the challenge is on me. We both got skin in the game. I want to help you make your first $1 online. So if you're interested, please visit indiebandalliance.com. Start selling music, which would be www.indiebandalliance, all one word, .com, and then / start selling music online. Go right to the bottom of that post, and there will be a link, and that's where you sign up for the Music Income Challenge. All right? So do that, and I'll see you on the other side. Thanks so much for watching, and talk to you soon. Later.